Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Jett. A lot of very interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. First and foremost, let's start off with the Benny and Rosalie situation. I wasn't sure where the hell that storyline was going. Sure as hell didn't see the story going in this direction where she's actually kind of crazy. She even talks about it. It's like, oh, I know right now you're kind of thinking, oh, this lady's batshit crazy. But actually, no, I'm not. This is actually me sane. I'm like, Jesus, I wouldn't want to see you batshit crazy then. But just like what she's doing, she's got him tied up and everything. She's kind of having fun. It's like we've never seen this side of her personality. I guess it's like it's something that kind of comes and go. Like we saw her kind of going with the motion of things with Dwight before, so I guess it's like this is her just kind of when things are just kind of spiraling. She in particular is spiraling, but obviously she's got Benny tied up, restrained, duct tape over his mouth and everything. At one point he needs to use the bathroom. She pulls his pants and his underwear down to kind of help him out and everything. She's even going to kind of make him feel better so that he can concentrate and urinate. It's like, okay. Because basically the reason why she's doing all this is because you threatened to do this and that to me before, right? He was like, I was just trying to scare you. And she's like, well, what about, all this and that, you judging me because I cheated on my husband. He's like, I didn't know you. She's like, oh, but you know me now? He's like, yeah. She's like, just because you watched me from the outside, you think you know me, which this whole episode proves. Benny didn't know jack shit about Rosalie. She is on another level. I think she is literally the biggest surprise I've ever gotten in the show. Like, just you would not expect her character from how she was introduced to where she is in this episode. You would have never think that was the same character. She's on some next level stuff. She's making strawberry shortcake. She's slapping on his face like, oh my God, you look so funny right now. It's like, what if I texted this picture to your boss and everything? It's like, he works for criminals. Why would you do something like that? Doesn't really care. Basically, he screams for help at one point in time. She's like, oh, you're being a bad dog. So I have to punish you. And she pisses on him. It's like, holy shit. He kind of gave her the silent treatment for a while. She's like, okay, so we're going with this. And she's talking about the fact that the matter is, she actually talked about like she had 3 miscarriages, and for her like the sad thing is like she's kind of okay with that because she can't imagine bringing up a child with Dwight. It would just be a nightmare. The fact is like Felix, the guy Benny ended up killing that she was having an affair with. Well, I'll go ahead and finish my thought. Well, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, for her it's like he was nice, and the fact of the matter is she wanted him to make love to her for the first time, to be made love to by someone that's good. The thing is that crossed my mind, I think would have made this situation extra morbid. It turns out not to be the case. I mean, at least you would assume it's not. But what it was popping in my mind, I was like, are they going to bring up the fact is she going to say like, oh, the day that Benny killed him was the day that they ever had their first affair? I thought that's what was going to happen, but it never came up. But it would have been really messed up of like, oh yeah, the moment you step out on your marriage to get a little happiness, bam, it's taken from you literally just like that. I mean, it still applies, but it would be even more, I mean, it's still a shitty situation regardless, but it's even more morbid if it was like the first day you two had your affair together, but still. And so she starts getting on top of Benny. Luckily he manages to get away, and she's like, you can hit me. And he's like, I'm not going to hit you. The fact is I can kill you, yes, but I'm not going to hit you. He's like, oh, so you killed women before? And she's just kind of like, come on, Benny. It's just like, he's like, nah, I'm out of here. I even love that he tells Charlie, and Charlie's like, she what? He's like, yeah, I wasn't sure I was going to tell you until I started telling you. He's like, man. Even Charlie's like, damn, that's wild, dude. Even later on at near the end of the episode, she's touching herself, calling him and stuff like that. And I think the twisted thing is, I think Benny's still interested. It's hard to say, because obviously Benny was like, kind of get me away from this lady, but now it's like, in her own twisted way, I think she is into Benny. And it's like, I don't know what to make of that storyline, dude. It's like, where will you go from there? Will they actually end up being some like twisted happy couple? Did he actually go over? Because he didn't believe her that she was like, oh, I'm, pleasuring myself. And it's like, oh, he's like, oh, like, she's like, what was she said exactly? Like, I don't always tell the truth or something like that. So it's like, she's like, come on over. And it's like, will he go over? Is he tempted to? I mean, last time you got shackled. So do you want to take that chance again? Uh, I thought Benny was crazy anyway, just because he was fantasizing about her, stalking her, keeping an eye out, her, want to protect her, because obviously, it's kind of my fault things kind of played out the way they did for you, so I want to be, you want to be my knight in shining armor and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, and slaps him around a little bit for it. It's a crazy, crazy situation. Does not stop there, ladies and gentlemen. We have the whole situation with Phoenix and Maria. I like that conversation that they had, because it's like, oh, are you ever worried? And Maria is like, about Alice? It's like, no, about Jett. And it's like, no, because they made the promise of like not to be worried. But Phoenix is like, but you're not worried at all. It's like, no, Daisy, isn't like most people. It's like, whoa, 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 you call her Daisy? And it's like, not to her face. That's kind of interesting to me, because like because certain character names I always just latch on. Like, she's just always going to be Jett to me. I doubt I'd ever really refer to her as Daisy, just because it's literally the title of the show. But still, it's just one of those things where certain nicknames, like probably like Animal Kingdom will be a great example. Like Pope. I could call him Andrew on Animal Kingdom, but I always refer in my head he's always going to be Pope. It's just kind of like Baz was always Baz. It's that type of situation. That means nothing to you if you've never seen the show Animal Kingdom. It's just a nickname thing. Regardless, I'm making references I shouldn't be making. Anyway, so right. But then there's the whole thing. They go to the store and everything, and lo and behold, who they run into? Phoenix's half brother's like, how did he? Because even Phoenix is like, oh, he has no idea where I am, and it's like literally the next day after you say that, bam, he finds you. It's like, I don't know. Maybe he's tracked down some stuff, but I don't know. He's there, and even Alice is like, yeah, he's creepy. And it's like, oh, your mom must have told you to stay away from strangers, not talk to strangers. She's like, no, but Maria told me to trust my gut when I think I come across a creeper. It's like, who's Maria? I'm Maria. Have you ever had a watermelon smashed over your head? And he's like, no. It's like, oh, you think I'm scared of a watermelon? And she kind of pretends like she's going to throw it, and he kind of backs away. It's like, yeah, back up, punk. But I like that, because Maria is like, oh, you have the chance to take your destiny in your own hand. All you have to do is walk away. And he pretends like he does, but we see him following them back, which is not going to be good for him, especially if Jett comes back and finds out, wait, you're what? I mean, who knows? It might even be Maria that straight up deals with it. It depends. It's like, I guess because because of the abusive situation that they went through with their family, like some twisted need to be in control of her and in her life. It's like, you owe me type of situation, even though she paid off her debt. It's like, no, you're my property type of thing. I don't know, like, why is he going so far and beyond? Because I guess he has no one, and if he doesn't have her in his life, he's going to be all alone, and he doesn't want that. It's like, oh, you get to be happy with this family and whatnot. It's like, no. I even love Alice being like, what's wrong with your brother? It's like, oh, he's sick. What's wrong with him? Just nothing. He was just dropped on his head a couple times too many when he was younger. It's like, jeez. So I'm interested to see where things kind of go on that front. It's also interesting to note too, Charlie talked about the fact is that their job, the Saleh's shipment that they were supposed to be intercepting, it fell through. No one ever came in that time frame. So it's like, okay, so they must have known ahead of time. But only a handful of people knew. Charlie, Benny, Carl. They're like, oh, Junior couldn't have. But it's like, no, we know it had to be Junior because he's tight with the well, I say that, but it could easily be because they're suggesting it might be Jett, but it's like, well, it's all kind of connected, because I'm about to say it could be a Bessic situation, but it's like, well, Bessic is, his whole thing is connected to Junior anyway, so, but still, those aren't really two exclusive parties, But speaking of Jett herself, like you had, Henry bringing her in, poor Seth, the security guard, was like, whoa, let me ask some questions. I see you bringing some unconscious woman in. He ends up killing her. And so Jett's pretending to be, he kills the security guard, and Jett's pretending to be unconscious, and Henry's filling her up. And she pops him in the head with a weight, gets the pillow, pow. I was like, wow, wasn't expecting her to do. I think that's the first time she's killed someone in the show, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. She's threatened people with guns, but that's the first time. But I guess it's kind of like, yeah, it'd just be a problem because it's like, well, he already killed the security guard. Might as well kill him. She did it with the security guard's gun to make it look like they killed each other type of situation. She sees it's like, oh, this is Vicky's place. starts interrogating Vicky. I love how this all ties into McKay's storyline because he's with this dancer and he goes into this whole story about how like he was in Mexico like 2 or 3 years ago. He took a certain plant, kind of started hallucinating kind of a thing, and he had a vision of a particular woman. This woman in his vision looks a lot like this dancer that came into his life, and it's just kind of like, and you must have Jett kind of being like, oh, really? Okay, yeah, sure, well, whatever floats your boat. But then, there's a lot of interesting conversations between them too of like, okay, everything that's going down, it's like, okay, she got this full story in. It turns out that the house that they were in is a patient of Nolan's. Basically, Dr. Nolan, he's got a whole bunch of debt. The car in particular is Charlie's car, the one that they're stealing. So most likely some Russian syndicate sent someone to be like, hey, we're the ones that's got your debt, do this for us. So they're the one that set this whole job in motion potentially. And so that's what this is technically all about. Once again, kind of going back to the whole Charlie thing and whatever it is between him and Bessick. Once again, it seems like it has to do with that woman who the ring is connected to, like that whole thing. Maybe, who knows? I also love the situation of she let Vicky go. She kind of felt, it's like, oh, thank goodness she let Vicky go. Because she even said to Vicky, it's like, you're, kind of got caught up. This is the first time you ever been in this type of situation. Could you leave your life behind right now? And Vicky's like, fuck yes. So you don't have to kill me? Of course I can get right to leaving. So hopefully Bessick and his people don't end up catching up with her, but if they do, I guess Jett's kind of chalking it up to be like, I'm not the one going after him. You want to go after him, that's on you. Because Nolan started getting all squirmy because it's like, oh, he was worried because his nurse didn't show up. So, because even Evans talks about it later on, it's like, yeah, you were right to kind of say like, Nolan was kind of sketchy. The fact of the matter is Bessick kind of underestimated you. In this episode, it's like, he's like, oh, you showed him what you're capable of, the way he handled that whole Henry situation. So it's like, oh, here's another bag of money. If you do this, it's like, I'm not hunting down Nolan and that nurse. People should stick to what they're good at. I'm a thief. That's what I'm good at. So you want to hire someone to do that dirty work for you? Get someone else to do it. So obviously, this is one job down, 2 more that Jett has to do for Basic. So, obviously, once again, like Charlie's got his suspicions of Jett potentially being behind why he couldn't get DeSales shipment. So, we'll see where that kind of ends up taking us. Obviously, there's the whole Jackie situation and, Josie. Turns out not only did Junior take her hand, what did Junior do when the screen cut? He literally cut off her head. They dumped her in a dumpster. And the sad thing is Jackie's being like, yeah, Carter's like, yeah. And it's like, oh, did you know about this new guy in her life, Phil? It's like, I didn't know. Was she dating? Blah, 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 blah. He has an idea about their whole situation. And, Jackie's like, what, you really think I did this? It's like, come on, she was willing. She was trying to get a transfer over, so that doesn't look good. He's like, I'm on your side, but these are questions that are going to come up later on. And it's like, jeez. And then it's a situation of he talks to his wife about him. With some very insightful stuff where he was like, for the past 3 months, he's been wondering about something, but it's like, why did you put up with me? It's like, for her, it's like, the moment she saw him, she knew it was like, oh, you're a keeper. It's like, it's not just the past 3 months you should have realized that. It's like, for the past 3 years. And, it's like, you got that look in your eye like you're pissed at God, and he ends up telling her about Josie. It's like, okay, so if that's what happened to Josie, should we be worried about it? It's like, what if Josie ratted you out? It's like, she wouldn't. But what if you were in that position? Wouldn't you be ratted Josie out? And it's like, well, why does it matter? Because in his mind, it's like, it's a hypothetical about a situation that's not going to happen because that situation didn't happen. It happened this way, so why get caught up in a hypothetical? But also, I guess it's also without giving too much away about, like, his and Josie's relationship. I mean, and that's the sad thing, because Jackie feels guilty because like their last time talking was an argument. He was drunk, said and did stupid things. It's like if he had done things differently, maybe things would be different, maybe, and he knows without a doubt. It's like, oh yeah, only one person's crazy enough to do this, Charles Jr. So what was crazy is he's waiting outside, and it's what's dude's name, Wesley, but obviously, like I said, I refer to him as Four or Rio from Dark Matter, and he's like, yo, we got a problem. It's like, no. If I were you would recognize this situation being what it is. You come too close to this, I will put a bullet in your chest. And he's like, all right, sure, whatever. It's like, yeah, go back and kiss your master's ass. He gets pissed, starts rushing, freaking without hesitation, he was just looking for an excuse. He said he wasn't going to try and hurt Wesley. I don't know if that's true. I think he wanted things to escalate because he wanted an excuse to put him down. Because he wants to put everyone down. He's going to come after the other home dude and probably Charles Jr. next. You know, it's going to get ugly, but seeing like Jackie put 2 slugs in his chest, walked over, bam, bam to the head. It's like, yo, Jackie ain't playing around. He's full revenge mode. I'm wondering to see what the conversations are going to be like between Jett and Jackie the next time they meet. Because, you know, Jett probably hasn't heard about the Josie situation. Probably Jackie's probably like, honestly, we're not going to go after Charles Jr. anymore. I'm just going to pretty much gut him myself. Or it might be a situation where he needs information from Jett so that he can go after him. But it's like, you go after Charles Jr., you're not only going, you know, setting him up, like going after him, you know, a call to war against him, but you're also declaring war on Charlie too. So that's a whole thing in itself. So, like I said, I am very interested to see where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. Things are getting pretty crazy. Well, to be fair, they were already crazy, but now they're just even crazier. And I'm excited to see what happens next. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.